Shoot her! Shoot her!
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, myself and Gampat are we're gonna review the Jurassic Park trilogy finally. I know you've been on the Brick Flick before quite a few times, but the last time you're on a podcast episode was technically 38 episodes ago, because you got this one and then episode 100. This is 141. Oh wait, no, so technically 40 episodes ago. So that's quite cool. You're on episode 100 where we discussed Asterix the Gaul.
We did. That's some time ago. It was before it got a 10K. Way before. Yeah. Yes.
And it sadly did not make the cut, did it? Which is quite a shame.
It was just a pity. And it's a shame that Lego only chose one project.
It is daft, isn't it?
We're gonna re-upload the whole thing.
You're gonna re-upload Asterix the Gaul?
Yes, we will.
That is bloody hell, that's really cool. Obviously, you're not going to promote it like you did last time, but you probably get people maybe just share it around once or twice and say,
yeah,
here's Asterix.
Let's hope it goes faster, but we'll see. I have to adjust some things, and then we'll upload it again.
You know what you need to do to get 10K within 2 seconds? Just put chicken legs on absolutely every piece of the building. Just get chicken legs on every single build, and then you'll just get to 10K within 5 seconds. So it'll be easy work, won't it? So
I keep that in mind.
Yeah, that'll be pretty good. So you were a director years ago, right, man? What did you think of my audition for John Hammond then? I think I would have aced it, bro. I think they would have said, get on here, play every character, and just start shouting shooter. Jurassic Park could be through the roof.
Well, actually, it wasn't John Hammond. It was Robert Muldoon. It was your own...
Oh, he was the one who shouted shooter.
It was your own fellow countryman.
Oh, it was the guy who gets eaten at the end with the shotgun.
Yeah, it's Bob Pack, but unfortunately he died of cancer some years ago. But he was a very good actor. But well, I mean, the camera work he did was all right because of this shoot her. You zoomed in on your mouth and you saw the things, the interior that you see of Bob Pack. I mean, well, that
was the closest thing to being as good as him. That was the closest. the camera work. No, the way I position myself in front of the camera. I didn't pick up the camera and go shoulder like that, you know.
Yeah, something like that.
The camera was static, but still a good angle.
But indeed, Robert Muldoon, he is he's your fellow countryman. So
yeah. It makes more sense for him to be saying shooter. I can't believe I totally forgot because John Hammond, he does nothing. He just sits there and lets everyone else do everything and just pops champagne and goes, I spared no expense to the schedule, thank you.
Yeah, you know? That's old Scottish man. Well, yeah, true.
He's not.
True.
No, he's English, isn't he? I thought he was Scottish for years, but he's actually English, isn't he?
We have to look it up, but I think he was Scottish, and you can hear that sometimes.
He can't. No. He sounds a bit like, but trust me, because
okay.
My mum was saying to me, like, James, he's not Scottish, and I'm like, he is, and she's like, no. Attenborough. There we go. Oh shit, I'm looking up the wrong person. What's his name? I just looked up John Attenborough. Oh.
John Attenborough. Oh, because of the name of John. I've heard Gampat say, welcome to Jurassic Park, and then sing the entire Jurassic Park theme tune.
Yeah,
I guess. Oh, no. Not going to do that.
Richard Attenborough. How did I forget that? Oh, bloody hell. He is British art. Yeah, he was born in Cambridge, yeah.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
But did he live in Scotland then?
I'm going to click on it just to be safe. Damn, he made it to 90. Fair play to the lad.
Yeah, he was an old man.
It says it was an English actor, filmmaker, and entrepreneur. Richard Attenborough, I think it is.
He made, for example, as a director. The funny thing about him is that as there is Lord Attenborough even. Well, he made Gandhi about
That's really good.
Mahatma Gandhi, And of course, it's a bit controversial because it's a British guy who's making a movie of a very uh, famous Indian guy who did a lot of
Yeah,
good
all
stuff for India.
the
And
peaceful protests.
yeah, and for the independence of India. I saw that movie and I was a bit shocked because it was about the, my birth, my country, my own country, where I was born, and I was like, wow, this was not good. I mean,
Yeah.
the and he did a very how to say uh, I don't know the word for it in English. Anyway, it was a very good movie, and I can imagine that it would be kind of how to say in England. I don't know how it was received in England because
Um.
he's not really he's trying to be objective about what happened between the British and the Indians,
Mhm.
and I think that's very good because everyone needs to know his own history. So I am very much respect and admire the guy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I haven't. Are you on about Gandhi or Richard Attenborough, who you admire, or both?
Say it again.
Did
Oh,
you mean you admire Gandhi
Adam,
and Richard? Oh, both of
Attenborough,
them. Ah,
Attenborough,
okay.
Attenborough. I also admire Gandhi, but I mean Richard Attenborough because he dared to make a movie about Mahatma Gandhi as a British person,
Yeah.
and I think yeah, that deserves respect.
Yeah, definitely,
So
especially being impartial and not. I haven't seen the film, but obviously, it sounds like from what you were saying, he was impartial and he just sort of, made it as it was and showed what happened, what the British did in India, and all the bad things that happened. So,
yeah, but he was also honest about what the Indians did to each other.
hmm
So he showed all the sides, and
yeah,
there's not really a good guy. Also,
exactly.
the flaws of Gandhi himself, he also showed them. So that's
hmm
yeah.
And
Anyway, yeah,
I was going to say, and the thing is as well, um, is that he actually got shot, didn't he? All the peaceful protesting and trying to make a difference, and then he just gets shot
yeah,
by some random guy. It's just mad, isn't it?
yeah. It's really strange, um, and actually, it was, let's say, why I don't know why now, why then. It's but anyway,
It's sad, and it? It seems like a lot of people who really stand up, especially back in those days. They like Martin Luther King. He got shot, and he was a all right guy. He tried to make a big difference, and he just got shot.
mm,
And
yeah,
it's just like, well, you got these people trying to make a difference, and you just got these lunatics who just shoot them. It's like
mm,
the guy. I know John Lennon isn't a dude who was trying to make a humongous difference and have a big
no,
impact on the world, but he got killed for a daft reason. Basically, the geezer who killed him thought he was actually John Lennon himself, so that's why he shot John Lennon because he thought he was John Lennon, which is just bonkers.
is that the story behind it? I didn't know that.
Well, a lot of people thought it was the book, but my granddad, who's a big my granddad on my mum's side is a big fan of the Beatles, said that's what happened. But I might look it up quickly just to be sure.
Yeah.
Reason.
Well, my parents have a huge book about John Lennon.
Okay, so it says he's killer, an American Beatles fan who was increased by John Lennon's lavish style, and his
Mm,
1966 comment that the Beatles were bigger than Jesus.
okay.
I'll see if it says much else. We'll get on to Jurassic Park in a
Yeah,
second. This podcast taken a very interesting Joe Rogan type deep dive.
that's my fault.
But no, I enjoy it. To be fair, it's good bands. But trying to think, Chapman planned the killing over several months at the Dakota on the morning. Whose copy of album Double Fantasy? His wife Yoko's Lennon. Yeah. I mean, 5 bullets. What a horrible guy. I mean, 1 bullet's
No,
evil anyway, but 5,
5 to get him
horrible.
killed, I guess, to be sure,
Yeah,
to make sure that he was dead.
but I can't really find anything about what
Mm.
my maybe. Well, I don't mean to laugh at it, but yeah, maybe it was just maybe my granddad read something somewhere and he got it wrong. I don't know. But
Yeah,
it does
that could
sound
be.
like something a psychopath would do, doesn't it? Really, like they might think they're somebody else and shoot them.
Yeah, yeah, that could be the case. I mean, this guy. I mean, the guy who shot him. I think he had mental issues
Yeah,
and could have thought that he was the one.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, you got crazy people
Crazy.
on this world, right? In this world, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, what I actually wanted to say about Richard Attenborough, he stopped acting. He was only directing movies. But when Steven Spielberg asked him, "Would you come back to act again?" He said, "All right, yes, for you, I will do that." So that's
Was
how he became John Hammond.
was Jurassic Park 2 his last film then? Like that he acted in?
That could be the case. Yes, I'm not sure, but I think it could be. Yeah.
Choosing the Ring, there's a film from 2007. I don't know if he acted or directed that.
Hmm.
Um, there's the Railway Children from 2000. It looks like he's in that film. You can see his beard on the cover.
He's
But
also
yeah,
playing. He's also playing Santa Claus
ah,
in
cool.
another movie. Yeah, he perfectly fits, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think we've got to remember though, by 2000, the bloke was probably well, he was nearly 80, wasn't he? He was like 76. At
Hmm.
76, you don't want to be doing all this daft stuff and running around and dancing
No.
and laughing in movies. So, unless you're mad passionate and have the physical capabilities to do so.
I think Harrison Ford will come very close to
Yeah. He'll get the closest in years to come.
that.
Well, he's
Yes.
doing Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, do you think you'll ever go back to directing one day, or are you not bothered?
I wish I could, but the whole thing is, I mean, um, in my country, I don't know how it is in England. I think in England it's way more difficult to get direct a movie. Um, but I have to, if I want to, I have to use all my own resources to get
Oh,
it all funded. So
that's
I
difficult.
think my son is more important than making
By
a
far,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Hey up, how's
Oh,
it
yeah.
going? Scruffy buttons. But yeah, you've got a good point there. Your son's obviously far more important than directing and all this
Yeah.
jazz.
Well,
Um,
if people offer me to work on a movie,
yeah,
I
if you
I
got
probably say
headhunters,
yes. Depends on what story it is, but uh, yeah, to be on
yeah, I
set
mean,
again would be nice.
fair dues. I mean, the thing is, if you mention about doing it if you're an English person trying to be a director, the issue is if you go somewhere and you don't have a big crew or like security,
Mm,
armed security, you're probably going to get your gear robbed unless it's like Wales or Liverpool. If you're making a film in Birmingham or London, there's
yeah.
probably unless it's a humongous project, there's probably a decent chance that you'll get assaulted, killed, or your shit will get robbed. You know,
Mm,
um, which so that's probably why it's partly harder. And also, it's probably harder to like get these places to film because there's so many people. Because England's such a condensed country with so many people. Like, if you say I want to film here, and like let's say the council or whoever or a company blocks this area off for you to film, it's going to cause a big issue and a big roar because everyone's going to be like, I need to get past here. No,
mm.
you know,
And the industry in your country is way bigger than in my country.
yeah,
My country basically doesn't have any real film industry. You have a lot of stuff there.
we do, yeah, surprisingly,
London has great studios.
yeah.
I believe that ILM is also in London. Industrial Light and Magic.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I guess
but
so. You know your stuff. I'm guessing that's true.
I met David Vickery. He's a British filmmaker at the IBC conference. in 2018, I think, and he works from London. So yeah.
It's interesting though. Well, it's probably difficult to like make money in the English film industry, like trying to become a director and do all this big jazz. At the
Mm.
same time, if you like produce on certain film projects, you could be making money for ages. Like this one geezer I know went to university to do film. He one of his teachers was just doing teaching film for a laugh. He produced a fair amount of Harry Potter, and I think it was James Bond, and he's still receiving fair amount of money for that now.
Mm.
It's a nice income. He doesn't need to do this teaching stuff, but he just does it because he's got a passion for the film industry, and I guess it's something to do in a nice part of Wales. So
Oh, that
fresh
sounds good.
air. So
That
I'll
sounds
be.
really good. Sounds really good. Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Let's get into the cheeky Jurassic Park films. Shooter! Yeah. So, good old Jurassic Park. The
So
camera
tell
angle
me.
wasn't as good then. I just sort of like bonked my head into the camera.
So tell me, what did you think about the first one?
So yeah, I actually tried to watch it like years and years ago, and I thought this is a boring load of crap. I don't want to watch this. which how wrong was I? Because when I watched it again recently, I thought I still found myself sort of struggling to get into it, but because I was actually paying a lot more attention, and I'm
Mm.
an older, wiser man at 22 than I was at like 18. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I was thinking to myself, pay attention, see what it's like. Well, the start is keeps your attention, as I mentioned before. All the shooter stuff, you like shit dinosaurs, and you see a
Mm.
poor cow getting bloody lowered into it and ripped to shreds. The thing is, with animals getting killed, you want them to be sort of if an animal's going to get chucked in a cage, you sort of want them to be dead already. So the fact that this big cow gets lowered and gets devoured by all these raptors, it's like, oh god, they're vicious. You won't want to get mauled by one of them. And then a
Mm.
geezer gets mauled by one of them, doesn't he? And it's just daft that this big project is so important and so detrimental to succeed. They don't want to kill one of the raptors straight away until he gets too bad and that geezer's eaten and pretty much nearly
Mm.
dead. He's like, shoot her, So it's crazy how far humans will go to like try and maintain a legacy or be a part of some big grand project, be the
Yeah.
first to conquer something or play God or play nature or whatever. Scary, really. But it's a good first opening scene. I like how it's shot at night as well.
Mm.
You're like, crap, what's going on? And it showed you how big this. You're thinking, what is this big project with a few dinosaurs? But you don't really see the dinosaur. It's shot in a way that you don't really see it, isn't it? So, but that's a good intro scene. Then we go to. Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, yeah, it's one of the best intro scenes there is, I think. It's just, the tension, the suspense. It indeed it keeps your attention. You, you want
100%.
to you want to know what's happening next.
Pardon me, most definitely. Oh, got a bit of my chicken chaser just shot at my throat.
Mm.
Oh god, when I burped, horrible. But yeah, anyway. So the next scene is this desert, and you got all these dinosaur enthusiasts, all these paleontologists bouncing around. For some reason, kids are there, and you got Alan Grant and Ellie there, and they're talking, and they're sort of like,
Mm.
oh, dinosaurs, cool, and he's got. I really like the foreshadowing in this film, and I like how they're dinosaur geeks. Well, paleo, dinosaur fans, because that he gets the tooth at this little kid, and he's like the raptor. Oh, cut your guts open
Yeah.
and eat you while you're alive. And he's like, the thing is, you won't. They're brutal, vicious beasts. So that's some interesting foreshadowing. You don't want to mess with these raptors. And it also shows that this Alan geezer does not like kids at all. They get on his
Mm.
nerves. He's stressed out. And then bloody John Hammond comes in and he's like, we're right on schedule. I need some brilliant people to show up and approve my dinosaur. I'm in my island, so let's pop
Island.
the champagne because I spared no expense. So I mean, he's like a less corrupt version of Tony Blair, basically. A less corruption, more interesting version of Tony Blair, pretty much. So,
I rather have him than Tony Blair.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, with John Hammond in this first film, I think obviously a lot of the characters are quite interesting at first. Well, not at first glance, but like as you get to know them. But John Hammond, I think he's definitely one of the most interesting characters because it's like or he brings his grandkids to the bloody
Mm-mm.
island, and you're thinking to yourself, like, this bloke's insane. Is he mentally ill? Has he got issues? Has he got dementia now? Is he
Mm.
forgetting how dangerous his island is? But in the second film, you realise that he's just a bloke who's obsessed with legacy and just wants to leave his name in the world. But Jeff Goldblum
Mm.
says one of my favourite lines in any film ever. But we'll get to that when we get to the second film.
All
When
right.
when he says about Hammond's name. But yeah. Anyway, so that's a really cool opening scene. You're like, shit, he's going to take these people who are like big fans of dinosaurs and take them to this place and get their approval. Damn, this will be cool. So
Yeah, it is. I mean, a dinosaur movie needs to have paleontologists. I
yeah,
mean, they are the experts, kind of, and it's understandable that Michael Crichton, who actually wrote Jurassic Park, um, basically all the characters are in the movie of the book, and but Spielberg made it, uh, how to say, the best cast for a movie you can imagine. You know
yeah,
why? You got a paleontologist, got a paleobotanist, Ali Sattler. And have you noticed what colors they wear in the movie?
no, I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to that.
Well, blue and pinkish.
Oh yeah,
And actually, they stand kind of for the you could almost say Adam and Eve. And then you have the white guy with the beard who creates dinosaurs, John Hammond, like the
yeah,
god figure. And then you have this black person who is all against it, Ian Malcolm, who is
mm,
really the opposite of this John Hammond at the table scene. You know, that sorry, but this is the rape of the natural order. You can't do this,
yeah,
point blank. And then you have the guy in gray, the attorney, who will end up on the toilet. He was first against it, but it all was about money. And
yeah.
then
The
suddenly
green,
he turns, and that's why he has the color gray, because he is actually in this gray area, um, a weirdo. So well, actually, that's what they are. I mean, and then you have Robert Muldoon, who is the hunter. Let's say the
yeah,
hunter, the big white hunter. But he does not. How to say? He is quite. He is a bit like you have to be careful, but this is my job, and I do my job good.
yeah.
I want to do my job.
He
That,
seems like quite the job's worth, doesn't he? He takes his job very serious, and I suppose you
yeah.
have to when it's life or death situations, don't you?
Mm-mm. Yeah, true. And we should not forget Ray Arnold, who is actually the famous Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of
Many
his
people, many
first
people
films.
forget that he is in that movie.
It seemed like his first really big film that slapped him onto the mainstream. I know he probably wasn't
Yes.
remembered from that film. I know he was in Goodfellas, but all he did in Goodfellas was roll up, and he was like, he was sort of like, oh shit, I was late, and then he gets shot in the face, and
Yeah,
that's
but
when he gets shot in the back of the head. That's it. Well, in this one, he actually does and says a lot more, and sadly, he gets
mhm.
mauled, which is quite a shame.
Yeah, and I think it was Pulp Fiction that was his movie where he
Yeah,
got, well,
he stole the show in that one. That was one of the best performances ever.
I guess so. Yeah,
What does Marcellus Wallace look like? He's bald. Go on. Does he look like a bitch? Oh wait, he goes what? Then he goes. I said,
yeah.
does he look like a bitch?
he
No!
he
Why are you
is
trying to
so
fuck him like a bitch?
he is really weird. He is so weird. But in Jurassic Park, he's kind of normal, and in
Yeah, he
other
just comes
movies,
across as
he's
a bit of a
crazy. Really.
computer whiz, doesn't he, in
Yeah.
Jurassic Park? But in Pulp Fiction, he goes from being a crazy killer 1 minute to be a crazy hitman killer, and then because that geezer shoots him and says, "Die, you motherfucker!" and Samuel
Yeah.
L. Jackson and John Travolta are like not shot, and
Mm-mm.
then they shoot him, and he's like, "It's divine intervention," and John Travolta was like, "You really think God came down from heaven and stopped those bullets?" And then he accidentally shoots that bloke in the head in the car.
Yeah.
That's one of the funny, that scene where John Travolta shot that guy in the head. Him
Yeah.
and him and Samuel L. Jackson arguing. I could not stop laughing at that. That was so funny because he's just like, take it to a friendly place. That's all.
Oh no.
It's
But
like-
you know the whole thing with but that's another story. But
yeah,
he is very good at dialogue,
yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson, and you can see that also in Jurassic Park. Yeah, he is a good character, and the good thing of Jurassic Park and also the Lost World is that every actor is on the same level of importance,
yeah, definitely.
and you don't see that back in Jurassic World. They're not on
That's
the
a
same
shame.
level of importance, and I miss that in those movies, to be honest.
I can understand that. So what I was going to say now was I like, all these introductions like Jeff Goldblum sort of like, sitting there with his top that shows a bit of his chest and
Mm-mm.
he's just having a laugh and he's a scientist but he's not the typical scientist. He comes across as a rock star and he's
Yeah,
touching Ellie's hand and he's like, "Oh yeah, hello."
yeah.
And then Alan Grant's like, no, 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 you know. And
Stay
then
away from a.
yeah. And then Robert's like, shoot him! But nah. So basically, I like how all the characters are introduced. I love how there is actually a dinosaur debate. As you mentioned earlier, Ian Malcolm's like, we don't want this. This is messing with nature, and people are going to get hurt. But Attenborough's
Mm,
like, no, no, it's amazing. And then bloody Alan's like, this is quite dangerous. And then bloody
yeah,
the lawyer's like, well, we can make loads of money from this. The rich can come and see it. And then
true. Yeah,
and
yeah,
then Attenborough's like, this is for everyone. So
true. Yeah, and that's he's the kid who dreams also a bit, and
well,
and and
well, we'll
that's
get
why
into
he's
it.
inviting those children.
Yeah, that is a baffling decision by that character. Why would you invite your young I mean, why did the parents agree to that? Oh, go and stop at Grandpa's on a bloody
Well,
deadly island with dinosaurs which are going to eat you. Yeah,
you
nice.
know, I think they agreed because they were in a divorce situation.
Uh,
So they were like, okay, it's good to have not the kids around. Just, let them go to grandpa. That's all right.
yeah.
But it must have been the mother because she was the daughter of John Hammond, because the kid's name is Murphy and it's not Hammond.
Hmm.
So I think Hammond was like, or maybe Hammond didn't even tell. Oh, let them come to my house and we have fun. But I don't know. It was just, it's indeed strange to invite kids to a park that hasn't been tested yet. And well, turned out to be all right at the end. But
It could have definitely gone horribly, horribly wrong along the way.
yeah, if you have the T-Rex breakout, the kids are the first, let's say, the second target. So yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, though, I was going to say about one of my most favourite shots ever is when they're driving around and it's da, 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 and you see these paleontologists who have spent their life being fascinated by dinosaurs and getting to witness these dinosaurs, creatures that
Mm,
have been extinct for millions of years, and they're getting to witness them. and you just feel so happy for the characters. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
they're such a big fan of these bones, these fossils, and but they probably never thought for a million years that they'd be able to experience it in the flesh, but they just have. And Alan Grant's fascination when he takes his glasses off and he's like,
yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah. That scene is fantastic. And it's also like when I was in cinema back then in 1993. Uh, I was like, that's a dinosaur. That
Yeah.
is that looks like a dinosaur. I've seen pictures of it in books, um, and I also saw that these how to say stop motion things
Mhm.
dinosaur, but that were you knew that wasn't real, but this looked real. Uh, I know if you look at it today, you can see it's all CGI, but back then in cinema, you didn't see that because this was done for the first time. And you were wondering, how did they do that?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, as well, Spielberg mixes it very well with the animatronics that look really, really good. Apparently, the animatronic
Mhm.
worked like a sponge.
Yeah,
So the T Rex would be like doing stuff, and then it'd be moving on its own because the rain would make it malfunction, and it
yeah,
apparently freaked out the crew, which is quite
hmm
funny.
yes,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. That thing was. Whoa.
Yeah, but they did well. They did well to get the close-up shots of it being animatronic, and
hmm
same with the other dinosaurs or big puppets,
Yeah,
and then the shots where it's doing big movements like smashing the jeep or eating that lawyer on the toilet. Those sort of shots be totally CG.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. They switched. Yeah.
yeah, I found it quite funny when Alan Grant had to sit by the kid and he's like, "I read your book. I read your book. I read your book." That was quite funny. To be fair, I think we got to give those kids credit because most kid actors aren't really that good. They sort of struggle, which is fair enough. As a kid, you can't imagine acting. I wasn't an actor as a kid. You weren't an actor. Loads
Mm.
of people weren't. And the thing is, a lot of adults can't act. So fair play to these kids for being able to pull it off. The kids in Jurassic Park did they actually like make it big acting and do well in other films, or did they just sort of leave it at Jurassic Park?
Joe Mazzello, the boy who was like, I read your book. He played in many movies,
Oh,
and
cool.
Ariana Richards. I know her
You
personally.
met her, yeah, didn't you?
I met her, and her last film or actually series was for sci-fi about wolves. I don't know, haven't seen it, but she had not that many movies afterward.
Fair enough. Maybe she just thought I made a lot of money now. I just want to sort of rest.
No, she has that other passion, and that's painting. And
Oh, that's cool. That's
she's
really
a
nice.
portrait painter. But I think there are signs that she's kind of coming back to the movie
Mhm.
business. I'm not sure,
Fair
but
enough. Each to their own.
when I asked her if people would ask you to take a part in a new movie project, would you do it? And she said, "Well, if it's a good story, if it's a good script, I'd like to do it again. Indeed, yeah,
Fair enough. Makes sense. Um, but yeah, the scene with the dinosaur. They go on that tour and bloody Wayne Knight. He's like, "I'm not paid enough," and we see him at the
yeah,
start of the film being like, "I'm gonna fuck some shit up," talking to that other guy, and
yeah,
he steals some shit and then turns all the computers off, so the security bloody malfunctions and goes mad. And you think, as John Hammond said, I spared no expense. Wayne,
Mm-mm.
bloody the character would have been paid well, but no, apparently not. Or maybe he just wanted more money for all the hassle. I don't know. So
Yeah. I think he wasn't. He was hard to satisfy in this case.
yeah, uh,
But I like it. The funny thing is that he actually played comical roles, and in this
yes,
case, he's a bad guy.
it's mad, isn't it? But in Toy Story 2, he's a bad guy, isn't he? When he's playing Al's toy barn, you
Oh,
know.
is he?
Yeah, he
Oh,
plays
oh,
Al.
I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
quite funny in it.
Yeah, he's a fun guy. Yeah, he is.
And
But
we
he
were
did it
talking
good.
about actors that can do voice acting well and act on the big screen.
Yeah,
Wayne Knight seems a bit underrated because I
yeah,
know he's a bit comical and fat, but he still has a okay presence as a villain. He's
yeah.
hilarious in Seinfeld, and he's a good voice actor in Toy
Mm.
Story too.
Yeah, and I've seen him in Rat Race
Was that a
with
serious film or a joke
no,
film?
it's a comedy. It's really fun. It's just when you have let's say if you need a laugh, if you need to, you know, ah ha ha, then you have to watch that movie. It's also with Rowan Atkinson.
What's it called?
Rat Race.
I'll try and find that. Hold on a second. He was in Cat Scratch and Kung Fu Panda. Let's
Oh,
check
it
this.
was.
Oh shit, he
Oh,
played Mr. Blick. That does sound a lot like his voice. To be fair, bloody hell, his voice acting in quite a bit of stuff. In
y-
Hercules, did he play the little fat guy in Hercules?
oh, really?
I'm gonna just check this. I'm guessing that was his character. No,
Mm,
he played. I can't find him. I think he played a small part in it.
mm.
Probably.
It-
Woods was amazing as Hades. That he was brilliant in Hercules. He was top banter. Oh, he played Demetrius. I don't know who the hell that is. I'm
nor
just
do
going to
I.
check Kung Fu Panda quickly. Who the bloody hell did he play in Kung Fu Panda? I cannot believe this for a split second that he was in Kung Fu Panda.
That's
I
funny.
need to check this, otherwise, I'm going to be asking this question for the rest of my. He played the gang boss. Who the bloody hell was the gang boss? What?
It's a boss of a gang.
No, but I'm just thinking who was the gang boss in Kung Fu Panda? Gang boss. I'm just going to look that up quickly. Uh, I think it was in one of the Yeah, it was the fantasy sequence at the start. That makes
Mm.
sense. That's quite funny. You can chew on my fist. Then Kung Fu Panda goes Mahoy. So
It's a good DreamWorks show
yeah, but back to
series.
the cheeky Jurassic Park. Where even was I? Oh, yeah, so it goes tits up because Wayne Knight destroys everything,
Mm.
and the T Rex scene's really cool and it's really scary, and you think, shit, the kids are in trouble, blah blah blah, and they're
Hmm.
like, and the lawyer gets eaten while he's taking a shit, and it's all because Jeff. Basically, what was mad, right? The T Rex was walking away, then Ian Malcolm was like, "Come over here!" with the bloody flare or whatever he was
Yeah,
holding, and then he falls over. Or does no? He runs into a house, doesn't he? Or falls on him.
he falls over, I think.
Ah, okay. How does the T Rex miss him?
I don't know. It's indeed a mystery, but the thing is that actually Ian's action uh,
Well,
is
it
the
caused
death of the lawyer.
yeah, because the T Rex was walking away, but Ian thought, "I'm going to be a hero,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then he probably meant well. To be fair, he doesn't seem like the sort of bloke who
I think
caused
so
death on
too.
purpose.
Yeah,
But the thing is, the lawyer. I know the lawyer's a bit of a pillock, but he didn't deserve to get eaten brutally by a dinosaur.
it
He
was
just
really
got
brutal. It was
yeah,
actually brutal, and uh, I think the T-Rex didn't really. I mean, some creatures have this sight, and if they want to, they can miss, like birds can miss their
yeah,
prey. Like I think the T-Rex did as well, but while doing this, he smashes that toilet building to
yeah,
pieces, and then oh, there's another one. Oh, that's funny. And I have clear sight, and I can grab him, and he doesn't run away. So why not?
yeah.
Let's get this thing on the toilet.
Exactly, yeah. And the car falls out, and the kids are stranded, and Alan Grant's stranded. And but I'm glad Ian Malcolm's alive because he's an absolute legend. He's probably my favorite
Yeah,
character in the whole thing. I really
mine too.
enjoy him in
Yeah.
the films. Jeff
Did you
Goldblum smashes that
did,
role out of the park.
did you know that when Ian Malcolm, I mean Jeff Goldblum, went to the set, he was in a plane together with that lawyer, and the lawyer said to him, I'm gonna propose something to Steven Spielberg. I'm gonna tell him that in the book, this one, the lawyer survives and you dies. So I'm gonna tell him, let's turn the roles, and that you will die and that I will live. Because and he is right, because in the book the lawyer has a very important role further on in the
Oh,
story, and Ian Malcolm also, he's also very important, but at the end he dies.
is it a brutal death or?
No, he was indeed, as in the movie, he's wounded, like exactly like that,
Yeah.
but has to be taken care of, but he actually dies of his wounds.
Bit of a shame, but at least he doesn't get brutalized. So that
No, but
we
the weird thing that what Michael Crichton did is revive Ian Malcolm in this book, in which he is the main character. So he did die in this one, but he was revived in this
that's
book.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Is it a prequel or does he actually somehow revive him?
What? Sorry, what did you say?
Is the book about Ian Malcolm a prequel or is it like?
No, it's a sequel.
Oh damn! So he brought him back to life. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
he brought him back to life with another story that he was tended in Costa Rica, and whatever. He lived. He lived.
Fair enough. Um. So what else is there to say about this absolutely amazing film? I know there's a lot more story. I mean, I like the blue. What's it called? I like how we get an hour of build up and then shit hits the fan because of what Wayne Knight's character does.
Mhm.
I like how they mentioned before in the film how that little dinosaur shoots ink at its prey and then goes after it because you can't see. You're pretty much like mostly blind when the ink gets shot at you, and doesn't it paralyze you as well eventually? And he
Yeah,
just gets eaten in the car, and the can rolls out the car, and you got this brilliant shot of the can with
yeah.
the crap. Isn't hasn't it got the DNA in it? But then we never see it again, which
That's
is the shame.
that's that's a shame, because Steven Spielberg planned to use that scene in another movie, in a second movie.
Yeah,
It would be a shot to come back to, but when Crichton wrote his The Lost World, Spielberg completely digressed from that. So,
yeah.
but in Jurassic World Dominion, this thing returns.
Okay, fair enough. So, um, yeah, you've got separate stories and separate things going on. The scene where they're climbing the electric fence is pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
tense and shocking.
Oh,
And then
it's such a good scene. Yeah.
yeah, don't they come back to another fence that they have to get over while the T Rex is somewhere? Or is that am I thinking of a different film, different Jurassic Park film? I swear they
Mm,
return and they have to get over the gate, and there's other people on the other side of the gate. I
no,
probably got.
that's number three. That's number three.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, that's a cool. The fence scene's really cool. The running scene with the dinosaurs and the CGI, that's really cool. I'm trying to think what don't I like about this film. What sort of. I mean, when shit hits the fan, I suppose there is character stuff in there, and there is a few moments to breathe. But I guess it's just all action, isn't it? But we get that from the hour of build up, so I wouldn't say that's a
Yeah.
negative. I'm trying to think. I like. Um, I think the geezer, the Robert, that geezer's death. That's quite cool because he's like, "I have you now." And
Hmm.
earlier on in the film, Alan said about how raptors will just stare at you and distract you and not do anything, and then the other two will be there, and he'll be like, "Clever girl," ah! And he just gets killed.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's good. That's exactly what Alan said. So
yeah,
that's cool that it was brought into the movie at the end, in
uh,
visually.
definitely. And I guess the Raptors are really good evil villains. They're very brutal. They're very intelligent and calculated. The scenes have a lot of tension, and as you mentioned,
Mm.
the CGI in the film's great. A lot of people, Samuel L. Jackson gets brutally killed off as well. And at the end, it's really cool how the T-Rex comes in and saves the day, and they manage to escape.
Mm.
You think shit, they're surrounded, but the T-Rex is like, I'm a motherfucking T-Rex, and comes in and saves the day. And the
I
Jurassic Park little ribbon thing falls
Oh,
down,
yeah.
which is a nice shot.
It's just, one of the most iconic, I mean, finales of a movie I've seen. It's just, it makes sense. Although people have said, where does that T-Rex suddenly come from? And why does the building not break? But if you look closely, the whole thing is open because it's still under construction.
Yeah,
So the T-Rex could have come in quite easily. But I
exactly.
mean, the original plan was not to let him return. Alan Grant would kill, and John Hammond would kill the two raptors. So
Oh, you would have just shot him with a shotgun.
yes, there is a storyboard
Shoot
drawing.
them!
Yeah, that
He
John
just comes
Hammond
back.
is
He just sees his
killing it.
dead body, and he wakes up and goes, "Shoot them!" And then dead dies again. And Hammond goes,
But
"We're on
it,
schedule, no expense spared."
yeah. But that's what originally would happen.
That would have
But
been a bit shit. Well, it wouldn't have been
yeah,
shit, but it would have been a bit
mm,
like, okay, the geezer who's responsible for all these deaths,
yeah,
near enough everything going wrong. I know it's Wayne Knight's character's fault, but it's sort of his John Hammond for setting this up in the first place and not paying them enough.
true.
And it's nice for him to rectify things, but it's a bit anticlimactic. It's just sort of like,
Mm,
I've saved the day. And it's sort of him realizing he's wrong. While in the second one, he becomes a more interesting character because he doesn't realize he's wrong. He's an absolute buffoon, but he makes his character more interesting.
absolute buffoon.
But
Yeah.
yeah, ended well as well. I liked how they all escaped. John Hammond looked a bit like, oh, for fuck's sake, my island's shit. And the kids were happy, and Alan and Ellie were happy, and that was that. So
Mm,
yeah, an end to an absolutely fantastic film. I
yeah.
give Jurassic Park one. Uh, Probably objectively, I'll probably have to give it like a 9.5 out of 10 just because it is objectively great. But subjectively, I'll give it an 8.8 just because monster films. It's objectively great, but I'm just not. I prefer more character and an actual
Mm,
live villain rather than just some fat bloke running
I see.
around and
Yeah.
dinosaurs eating people. I prefer like real. That's just my subjective opinion. Objectively, I give it like a 9.5 because it is objectively amazing. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, the floor's yours. Then we'll move on to the next one.
Well, my score for the movie?
Is a 10.
No, I think it's the same as yours.
Really? I
Uh,
thought it was like your number one film.
yeah,
Ah,
it is one of my number one films, but it's also 9.5 out of 10 because I think some things could have been clarified. Like, why is that Triceratops sick?
yeah.
For example.
And it pooed
Um,
out its whole body weight at well as well. That pile of shit was humongous. How did that physically happen?
that's also one thing. Like, wow,
Yeah.
this Triceratops was not in its full length and its full. I've been in London to the Natural Museum, and I've stood next to a model of a Triceratops skeleton, and I was like, whoa, this thing was huge. I felt, I was dwarfed by it, really.
Yeah.
Uh, but that, you know, the large, I mean, that's more T-Rex like poop thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't believe that either. Um, anyway,
At
and
least
there
we
you,
got sorry, I was gonna say at least we got an iconic line and
yeah,
it's one big pile of shit.
I use that sometimes. Yeah, I do. And life finds way. Almost all Jeff
Yeah.
Goldblum's quotes are great. I think that's my opinion. But if I look at the movie, if I would, how to say that, that's my subjective score for the movie. If I would do it objective, I mean, so my subjective, yeah, I think that will be a 10 because it's just good. It's a good story. And what for me also counts is that it is. You said you like a movie with good guys and villains and the character
Or just a
thing.
really good story.
Yeah, but But Spielberg, in a way, held on to the how to say the character of Michael Crichton's storytelling. That's why you don't have real bad guys and real good guys. Yeah, you got good guys, but is he's trying to be realistic in the
You know,
sense
I
of
just meant with my subjective opinion, how I personally feel, not
mm,
not objectively. How you know?
yeah, but that's for me too. I mean,
Yeah.
I like it. I like it because, and I gave it a 10 because it's true to the source material.
Hmm.
So that's my score.
Now, eventually, you do you do now now eventually you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right?
Tuk tuk tuk.
And classy.
That's classic.
Right, now we are moving on to Jurassic Park: The Lost World, and I really like where this one starts off. Jeff
Mm,
Goldblum sort of painted out as a bit of a mad lunatic and all this jazz, and the media have tried to spin his work on dinosaurs, and they'd rather cover this up. And the
mm,
thing is, the way Hammond is acting, he's sort of like a big entity or a big business really fucking up, and then putting some big weird corporate establishment thing like, oh yes, I messed up last time, but this time it'll be all right when I do the exact same thing because I'm taking some minor precautions. And it's like,
mm-hmm.
damn, Richard Attenborough. John Hammond, as much as this makes me aggro at his character, I find him a lot more interesting that he's just an insane lunatic who
Mm,
just wants to stamp his legacy on the world with dinosaurs. I like how this one's different though. This one's a lot different, isn't it? Because it
yeah,
starts off with it's sort of like I'm glad they didn't go for a totally new cast. I'm glad we have someone who's been there before because it's sort of like he's suffering with PTSD of what he had to deal with last time, and he knows what he's
yeah.
in for with this. And he's like, "Shit, my daughter's here, my girlfriend's here," but yet
Mm-hmm.
everyone else is like, "Oh, who cares? It's just dinosaurs." Oh, I'm here. I'm Sarah. What's his girlfriend's name? Is it Sarah or something else?
Sarah, yeah, Sarah.
So the thing is, she's like, oh, I've dealt with like predators before. I'm
Yeah,
an animal woman.
yeah.
Obviously,
I'm used to be in the wild with all those predators and lions and whatever, hyenas. Uh,
yeah, exactly.
okay, but dinosaurs are quite different, especially raptors. Uh,
Yeah, deadly. Absolutely deadly, and I love the back and forth as well. I love how he's like. This is one of my favorite quotes in any film ever, where he's like, "Look, it's fine if you want to stamp your name on the world, but stop stamping it on other people's graves." Well, he didn't say it exactly like that, but it was along
no,
those lines.
but
It's true. Like John Hammond is just sitting on his arse and paying other people to do all this stuff just for his
mm-mm,
legacy, just so he can feel good about himself. It's not. It is for enthusiasm and all that jazz, and
yeah,
you can tell he's passionate. But I think it's mostly just to satisfy his ego and bloody suck off himself and act like, yes, I'm the man who did this because he's already a rich guy and that's not enough for him anymore. He wants to chase this new fantasy and he can't accept that he failed. He can't accept that it went tits up. So he had to bloody go back and try and get people to sort it out again by sending Sarah and all those people.
yeah. He tries to get redemption, but he doesn't do it himself.
No. Right. So
And
what was the
yeah,
point of him sending those people out? What was he trying to do then again?
actually, he knew what was going to happen. He knew that his nephew would come
Oh
in with
yeah.
a team to get those dinosaurs out of uh, no, to get them to the mainland, which is of course very stupid. Uh, so he wanted to record what was on that island and show it to the world, so that everyone knows. Well, Jeff Goldblum was right, but we should stay away from these creatures, and then he would have a story to tell the world, so that InGen, his former company, could not pillage this lost world.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that you put it like that, it does sound like he's trying to redeem himself. But he shouldn't be sending a small squad to do his dirty work. And this is
True.
pretty much it's interesting for the story because it's a realistic, applicable situation. Like Jeff Goldblum is not going back for any other reason. He never do this again. It
Mm-mm.
doesn't matter. But because his girlfriend's there, he's like shit. She could potentially be in for a horrible, gruesome death, and she doesn't even fucking know it. So that's
You
why he
know,
went back.
w-
Oh shit! Sorry.
what are you doing?
Basically, I'm trying to put my light up, and it nearly fell onto my
Oh,
laptop.
okay. Oh, that's not good. Well, you know what is interesting is that Ian Malcolm goes to save his girlfriend. It's a rescue mission, and that's the only reason why he goes. Uh, Alan Grant always went to a dinosaur island because of money and not of this noble goal. So that's interesting. Uh,
Well, I've actually got a decent point later about why Alan. Well, actually, I'll bring it up now. The thing is, with Alan Grant in the third film, he's going. It's not like he just sits there and marvels at the island. He's like, "Oh yes, this is nice. This is nice." He actually gives a proper tour, even though no one's paying attention to him. He's like, "And over there's this dinosaur, and over there's this dinosaur," and
yeah,
you actually feel kind of bad for him. And then he gets knocked out, and you have that iconic dream where he's like, "Alan, oh!" You know,
yeah,
so that was,
yeah.
that's one of the best scenes in cinema history by a landslide.
Oh man. Anyway, about Lost World, I think it's also really typical that Ian Malcolm and Sarah Harding are sleeping on a couch, and while they're sleeping, John Hammond is blah 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 blah. And what you said about uh, Ian Malcolm, like stop, ruining someone else's lives. That they don't hear the preaching of John Hammond about they have to thrive in their own natural habitat now, and we have to leave those creatures alone. For Ian Malcolm, these creatures should never have been or come into existence again. So he doesn't have any, how to say, message or interest in what John Hammond is doing. The only
Yeah,
interest Ian Malcolm has is keeping people safe from what
exactly.
people did unnaturally. I mean, creating dinosaurs, which is, of course, not possible, but uh, that makes him one of the best characters of the whole Jurassic Park
Yeah,
movie series.
100%. But yeah, his story's good in it. I really despise. I like. I think his daughter's really cool in it, but I really despise that Greenpeace photographer. He's a pillar.
Nick
He's an
Van Owen.
absolute prick. Yeah, I don't like his character at all in it. Because basically, him and Sarah bringing that bloody baby T Rex back pretty much ruined everything. He gave
Yeah,
Eddie a brutal, horrible death. It's like,
yeah.
damn, Eddie did the right thing. He gave it his all to save them, and then he
Hmm.
gets ripped to shreds by T Rexes. All because though Sarah and bloody Greenpeace twat bloody bring a baby dinosaur which shouldn't have existed in the first place and try and
Mm-mm.
help it. And then the T Rexes are like, "Now we're going to kill these people anyway, even though they saved our baby. Fuck them," you know.
Yeah, one of the fan theories is that actually the the bad guy of the Lost World is basically Nick Van Owen, the Greenpeace
It
guy,
is,
because
yeah,
he ruined it all. Actually, if he didn't do it, nothing would have happened.
exactly. And they let all the dinosaurs free as well, which was stupid.
Yeah, which also broke their contact with the mainland because that
Yeah,
satellite was ruined by the Triceratops.
exactly.
So and the strange thing is that Nick Van Owen, his story ends suddenly in that helicopter. He doesn't return. There's nothing going on with him. He doesn't get a proper ending, in my opinion.
True.
He could
And
have
does,
been
does Ian
dead.
Malcolm's daughter even come back for that ending sequence?
You will see her uh, in the last scene, but she's not present, of course, when they are trying to catch that T-Rex, because of
Bit weird,
course
isn't it?
Malcolm would have said, "You stay at home. I don't
Yeah,
want you near." I don't think she want to get near anymore because it was already frightening what was happening on the island for her.
Yeah, but it just sort of feels like all the characters get wiped off the face of the earth, and you're like, where have they gone? Like that bald geezer who's like feels bad for killing that T Rex, and he's
Yeah,
like, "I'm going to leave this now. I can't believe I did this," and then he just leaves.
yeah, and that's also because his best friend died in that field by the raptors.
Wasn't he the bloke with the glasses and the bag?
Yeah, yeah, true. But the thing is, they left out a lot of scenes from that movie that were filmed actually. There is at the beginning of the movie there would be, and you can look it up on YouTube, a scene between Roland Tembo, the bald guy, and this South African guy, Ajay, and they were talking about this new assignment. And later on in the movie, uh, this Ajay tries to withhold the people to get into the long grass where the raptors are. But
Mm-hmm.
he runs into it nevertheless to get them all back. But then it's too late, and there is a scene. We're not really sure if that scene has been shot, but in the script it says that Ajay faces a raptor, and then he closes his eyes and he will die. He dies. So that is actually what made Roland Tembo saying to that boss of Injun, "I've spent enough time in the company of death."
Yeah.
So, and he's from England as well, by the way. Pete Bostlewaite, very good actor,
What else has he been in?
but he's dead by
Oh,
now. He died
yeah, he died in
also,
2011.
I think so,
Jeez.
of cancer. His last movie was Inception, I think.
What?
Think
Oh shit! He was in the usual. I know who he was in the Usual Suspects. He was the bloke who was like they're pointing a gun at, and he's like, "Kaiser Soze is coming for you. You can kill me if you want, but Kaiser Soze is going to get you guys." I'm trying to see what other films he was in. Waterland, which is a bit weird.
we'll see. Oh, I didn't know
That's
that.
what it says. Dressed Off, The Name of the Father, William Shakespeare, The Town.
He was also in Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio.
And that's pretty crazy.
It was a weird movie, but it was fun to watch.
Is it good weird or just weird weird that Romeo and Juliet?
No, he was actually a priest.
No, I mean, was the film itself bizarre or was it really good?
Well, it was. I there that it's there is a name for a movie like that, but I have just a second.
Shit, it's on Disney Plus.
That movie on Disney Plus. Oh, it's 1990. I had to go to that movie because of my school. Oh, Paul Rudd is even in that movie. But it was like how to say, I don't know. Um oh, Baz Luhrmann. Yeah, he's someone who would make a movie like that.
Hmm.
It's, placing an old story in the modern times. That's what it is.
Yeah, I might give it a watch.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice watch.
What the hell else was I going to say about this film? Yeah, it's just like no, not as good as the first one, but I felt like it was a sensible place to take the story. In my opinion, it made a lot of sense. It feels like it's quite with monster films. It's quite hard to get a lot of new content out of them. If I
Mhm.
was Spielberg, I don't know what the hell I would have done to be honest, because with monster films it is a bit difficult. Maybe like a prequel about maybe like
Mm.
John Hammond when he's younger, and maybe like him sort of maybe he might have gone a bit mad or something, and this is why he wanted to. So the start of the film could be him trying to be like a normal rich person. Maybe he gets like really depressed and nothing
Mm.
really does it for him anymore. Um, you know,
Yeah, that would have been a good idea. I think so
and
too.
we can actually understand why he's like this and why he's a madman. And then the end of the film could be like him getting Jurassic Park together.
Yeah.
And then maybe the third one could be this, the Lost World about Jeff Goldblum, and then
Yeah, that's
because the third Jurassic Park film. Oh yeah, I'll just give my rating quickly. I'll give this probably 8 out of 10. Pretty good.
The
Pretty
Lost
good.
World. Oh, that's still good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe, yeah. Because the dinosaurs were cool. I mean, the cars were cool. Like the whole hunting party and all that equipment all looks very well organized. The raptors were ferocious. I mean, yeah, I think for me also 8 out of 10 because it was an amusing thing. But what I would have done differently was the ending. I
Yeah,
mean,
I didn't like the T Rex going around California. I think they should have saved that for a different movie.
yeah,
Like a big grand send off to Jurassic Park.
I think so too. I think it would have been better to end it on the island itself. Um, but in Jurassic Park 3, I think, no, in The Lost World, I think you could have already built in something that would lean to Jurassic Park 3,
Yeah,
like that other company where Dennis Nedry was stealing for example.
yeah. Something that's really weird about Jurassic Park 2? Like the crew's mauled, but who killed the crew? Unless
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
it was like one of the crewmen was like a crazy animal rights person and just brutally killed all the humans and jumped off the boat just for the
Some
T Rex. Or,
something like that. Yeah, but
or some dinosaurs snuck on the boat and just murdered everyone and said we're going to drive the ship into California, and then they just jumped off the boat at the last second.
it's a weird thing. There is some information that explains it that a T Rex was not entirely tranquilized, so that it broke loose. But seriously, it
How
wouldn't
did it end
kill.
up captured again though?
Say it again.
Because it was still in the it was still in the cage, and the
Yeah,
dead hand was on the wheel in the in the cockpit or whatever.
I don't get that either. I would. It doesn't explain everything. I mean, if let's say in reality a T Rex is captured, brought into a boat in the cargo bay, uh, awakes because he was not tranquilized good enough. And when people see that, the only unlucky bastards are those that are in close range. Those that
Yeah,
are far away enough on a big boat, because it was a very big boat, would shoot that thing down within seconds.
yeah,
Or would, if it was too late, they would jump overboard, or many people would survive. The T-Rex could not kill one T-Rex could not kill a whole crew. That would be insane. I mean,
yeah. Because before the T Rex would have killed the crew, the boat would have sunk, and the T Rex would have sunk to the bottom of the ocean.
for
So
example. I mean, if there was a lion, that would be a different story.
yeah, if the lion breaks out, it's small, it can run around
Yeah.
all the angles and just jump on people and rip them to shreds. Unless they shot the lion, they wouldn't have much chance, would they? Or had a long
No.
spear to stab it with.
Exactly. But yeah, that's still a big mystery of the movie. Yeah.
The lion
Yeah.
would still have a good chance of dying though, because if you got no humans to operate the boat, once it's run out of food, it'd
Yeah.
have to swim or just stay on the boat and die.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was going to say a couple of things I don't like about the film though. Weird decisions by the characters, as I mentioned before, and the sequence at the end wasn't very good as well.
Mm.
So
Yeah, and also the death of that other guy who was killed by the Compsognathus. Um, he wanders off too far, which is a bit strange.
isn't that the guy who teases the little dinosaurs and then they all team up on him and rip his lip?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
found that was a really cool scene.
It was a
He was
cool scene.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. But the whole thing that he is, getting lost, it's like you're on your guard in a jungle like that. So he was just stupid. Yeah, that's
Yeah, why would you go off on your own in a
yeah.
really a very, very tricky, dangerous place? Bit odd, isn't it? But hey ho, there you go. Shit happens.
Yeah, for him it
Now
was
on
really shit.
to on to. Oh, sorry. What did you say?
For him it was really shit.
Yeah. What was you going to say? Your rate? Oh yeah, you said 8 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess my subjective score would also be an 8 as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe 8.5, but not that
Yeah.
higher.
But yeah, now we move on to the greatest film known to man, Alan. Alan. I mean, that made this film probably the greatest film of all time. I love that dream sequence. No,
You did. Are you serious?
no, I'm joking. I'm joking. It was, to be honest, it was. I don't see why people are making a big deal out of it and being like, "This is the worst
Hmm.
thing ever." Look at Alan, but I sort of found it like it was a stupid scene, but it was quite funny, to be honest.
When I
Taking a
wasn't,
serious, ta-
yeah,
taking a serious character like Alan and having a daft dinosaur say "Alan" to him, that was
but
pretty.
I think the scene was misunderstood a bit by many. Uh, you do not need in a third part of a series. You do not need to be the same as in the second or in the first. You can digress from it a bit.
Yeah,
Let's say when it comes to style, and this was actually also a reference to that parrot who was saying, oh no, he didn't say it. Like Ellen said to that parrot at Ellie's home, say, Ellen, you know my name. My name is Alan. And his biggest nightmare are the raptors, although he still likes to do research uh, in that field. But then he dreams about his biggest nightmare.
yeah,
And this nightmare mentions his name. So I can understand that choice. I mean, I get it. It's not, really that it's weird, but it's not that bad.
yeah. I understand. Um, but yeah, we see Alan at the start of the film. He goes to talk at this college or wherever, and then he's like, all right, does anyone have any questions about anything that isn't Jurassic Park related? And then no one puts their hand up, you know. But before everyone had their hand up when they wanted to ask him about Jurassic Park. But you think, as the whole of society knows about dinosaurs now because of the last film, because
Mhm.
a big T Rex went round bloody California and ate people and ate John Hammond's nephew. You'd think everyone would be like trying to get Alan. Well, okay, there wasn't any. When was this film made? 2001.
Yes.
So in 2001, there wasn't too many podcasts about it. But you think everyone would be wanting to interview him and talk to him or get him to do a speech about all this dinosaur crap. And you
Mm.
think, I know it was a traumatic, horrible thing for Alan to go through, but you think he'd think to himself, damn, this is a chance for me to actually talk about dinosaurs with people. And you'd think he'd actually like want to just chat about Jurassic Park loads, but intertwine his own passion about
Mm.
dinosaurs as well.
Yeah, that was. I think I agree. It would also fund his dig sites.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly, which is
his
very important
research. Yeah, but well, the director chose something else to do. I don't know why.
because he's losing the funding in the film. That's why he does that tour, isn't it? Because that
Yeah,
man and that woman are like, oh, okay, let's all right, Alan, if you and Billy come along and give us a tour over the island, we'll pay you a load of money because we just
yeah,
want to see the island. And Alan's like, sure, but obviously it's all just a prank. Well, not a
yeah,
prank. Sorry, it's all just a because he's the dinosaur expert. They get him involved. They tried Jeff Goldblum, but well, they tried Ian Malcolm, but they just found him too weird with his chest out. So they were like, we need to go on to Alan.
yeah. Did you notice that when they are actually telling the lies to him in that cafe, there is a song on the background, Big Head, Big Kettle. It's from Rennie Newman, and it's actually about lies, and
Nice.
they're lying constantly. So that was really funny. That because the song and the real lies being brought up by the Kirby's.
Yeah, and they're not even married. They're just really trying to help their son.
Yeah, yeah, true.
But it's, why would you send your son with a random stranger to bloody go paragliding? It's ridiculous. Well, not
uh,
paragliding, bloody whatever you want to call it, hanging onto the boat and having a parachute and flying through
yeah,
the air.
yeah, and hoping to see them dinosaurs on the island.
It's pretty crazy how that bloke just you don't see any straight away. That geezer dies at the start of the film, doesn't he? The guy driving the boat and the dude on the parachute, he's dead not too long after, isn't he?
No, but you know why? It was not really explained in the movie, but it was in the script that he was actually badly wounded by his fall.
Oh, okay.
So, uh, but they didn't really film that good enough. But in the script, it was really clear that he actually died of his fall.
Oh,
Shortly after Eric, the boy, is freed from the ropes, then he dies, and probably when they found his body later on in the movie, probably dinosaurs or other creatures would have eaten from him.
probably quite a shame for Eric to have to witness that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Well, but yeah, them lying to Alan Grant's quite funny. Well, not funny, but it's a bit of a shame. And you see these dudes who come across as hard men guards, but the one is like, "Please stop," and you
well,
don't
that
blame
one.
him. And then
Yeah,
they're like, "Get out of the way, get out of the way!" And then T Rex eats him, and then the plane crashes. Then a couple more guys get eaten, and one dude's knocked down. Then they snap his neck to try and it's crazy how calculated the Raptors are
yeah,
because like you'd think they just sort of be like, oh, that's just eating a mad, but instead no, they're just sort of like, well, we're gonna lure them out. I think they have a thrill when they're because they're a predator. They have the thrill of capturing the prey.
yeah.
You know, otherwise they get bored.
I like that scene very much. It was really a Jurassic Park scene, and the whole raptor chase was one of the best scenes from the whole movie, in my opinion,
Yeah,
because didn't you didn't really know what's gonna happen, who's gonna die. Someone is gonna die, but who's gonna die? Uh,
yeah,
the Kirby's were
and
so stupid; they could have died. I mean,
true. Cool how Eric was a proper survivor, though. He saved Alan from the Raptors, didn't he? Which was really cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that guy. Was he was funny? Yeah,
But Billy was a bit of an idiot getting the dinosaur raptor eggs, wasn't he? Because that's why the Raptors followed him.
yeah. He was also some kind of Nick Van Owen who actually ruined it for the party.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I don't dislike him as much as I dislike Nick Van Owen because at least he saves the
True.
kid and redeems himself. While Nick's just sort of like, "Oh, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you all, Greenpeace, ladies. Hey, is this the way to Amarillo?"
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
true. He was a sincere guy in the end.
yeah,
Originally, he would have died off indeed, uh, because there was no way he could ever survive an attack of pteranodon creatures who were pecking on him
yeah,
that
because they
hard.
wouldn't have left him alone till he was dead, or even past dead.
Yeah,
They would have kept eating him, pecking him after he's dead. So it wouldn't have. He wouldn't have survived.
no, and it was a kind of strange decision of I don't know who on the crew, but oh, let him live. But actually, for me, it wasn't necessary to keep him alive.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's sort of like he makes a big shit decision which gets people killed, and then he redeems himself. And I guess it's a bit sad that he dies, but he sort of bore it on himself. But at least he made
Mm-mm.
the right choice and saved Eric.
Yeah, and it's a bit like Eddie Carr, who saved the people in the Lost World from
Yeah,
falling from that cliff, but he dies himself. So the kind of self-sacrifice is it could have been a common theme in the Jurassic Park series if they let Billy die. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them letting him survive, but it's sort of like
Mm.
it doesn't take everything away from the stakes, but you sort of think to yourself, well,
Yeah.
or I don't know, all the characters survived, and it would have been very difficult if he had some sort of weapon that he could knock them. Say if you saw him sort of like getting pecked, but he was like whacking them with a stick or something,
Yeah.
and you didn't see him get pecked while he was sort of out of it, then it'd make a bit of sense, I suppose. But
Hmm.
because he's sort of knocked down and they're pecking at him, you think, well, how would he do anything to beat them?
True. And he
The
also
only
said,
explanation I can think of, oh, sorry to interrupt, but the only explanation
no
I can
problem.
think of is that he somehow swims away with loads of energy, and then the army are there and they shoot the. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yes, yes, but yeah, but that didn't really happen. But I think so too. That will be a good explanation. But
Yeah.
it's not given. By the way, it's funny that you bring up a stick. That guy who was snapped his neck.
Oh, yeah.
We
That was
have a
horrible.
we have a photo of him holding a stick, and he was going to beat one of those raptors. But they
Mhm.
left that freaking scene out of the movie. It could have made him more heroic if
Would
he
have been
was.
quite cool. Yeah.
That would have been cool. There are so many decisions for Jurassic Park 3 been made that are so stupid. Jurassic Park
Mhm.
3 could have been even better than The Lost World if they left in the original ideas. You
Yeah.
should look it up on the internet what this movie could have been. It could have been a kind of two storylines coming together on the island, and it would have been more of a detective looking for a murderous dinosaur on the mainland, but also another one on the island. Uh, but they chose something else, and they did that 6 weeks before recording the movie. There was a whole different script, but they
Mm.
left the original story and they went for this, and that's a pity, I think.
I just clicked on it and it says what was going to be different about it. So let's go through this then.
Yeah.
Uh, and Mark Crinton was originally co-writer. Oh, that's not a big deal.
No.
Uh, Pteranodons were what brought Grant to the island. I think that's a bit. That's not a good change. That would have been a bit naff. I like how this is the con, the prank, the trick brought him to the island. You know.
Yeah, it
Uh,
would be the pteranodons who kind of, killed people on the mainland. Yeah.
and I'll show you the article. So
Oh,
this
that's cool.
this would have been better if it was longer because it would have made the T Rex look like less of a mug.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that could have been cool if that was longer.
yeah, I guess it's the shortest one. We sort of. Oh yeah, this is
Oh,
what you
there's just,
mentioned. Yeah,
yeah,
that would have been very cool. Oh,
yeah,
I don't know what
baryonyx,
to think.
a smaller dinosaur villain. That would have been cool, by the way.
Mm,
But I like the Spinosaurus as well. I mean,
yeah,
I
he's
don't
really
mind.
big and deadly, and there was a big sequence where the father set him on fire at the end and
Yeah,
just got
and I like that ending. I liked it very much. Yeah.
the death of Ben. Oh, so do you reckon you can get that scene as it was a deleted scene? Years ago and see Ben.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting.
Alan Grant was much different.
Oh,
Oh,
how?
was going to start with living on in Gen Island so he could perform his studies.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Okay.
really know what to think of that, to be honest. It doesn't really make sense for him to go back to the island, does it? And you think he just want to stay away. It wouldn't make sense that he's on the InGen Island so he can do his studies.
Hmm.
Billy, yeah, that would have, yeah, Billy dying would have,
Yeah. Would have been okay. I mean,
yeah,
I'm okay with that he's alive, but it would also be okay if he stayed dead.
yeah, definitely. Uh, and the ending was,
Yeah, that would have been cool.
yeah,
That would have been really cool.
that killed the. Yeah, that would have been okay. Cast of
Mm.
teenagers, that would have been a bit weird.
Yeah, that was the original plan. One of the original plans.
Yeah, that would have been very weird. That would have been very odd. Motorcycle chase. Oh god. No, thank you. Ugh. And this would have been cool though, the death of the Spinosaurus. That would have been good because we obviously didn't get a Jurassic Park 4. It just sort of ended at 3 until
Yeah.
years later.
Yeah, the Spinosaurus was still alive. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'd say the film it's decent. It sort of feels like we've been there, done that. We need to get a new story rather than just people staying on the island or
Mhm.
getting stranded. They didn't. I liked how they brought Alan Grant onto the island, but a lot of the stuff in the middle, it was just a bit like the second one did this so much better, having to go back to the island, and I just sort of felt like it was a weaker version of the second one.
Mhm.
It's nice to see Alan back. Alan and Ellie's chemistry is a bit weird in this one because it's like, okay, she's married to some other bloke with kids and you're going to visit her. Isn't that a bit odd and a bit midlife crisis type? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't mind them still being friends, but I
Mm.
think it would have been so much cooler if they hadn't spoken for years. And then he
Yeah.
tries to phone her, and then he's like, "I need your help." That would have been so amazing. And then she helps him, and then they reunite and they could hug and embrace. That would have been such a good ending to Jurassic Park 3. I know it would have been a bit. Maybe we could see like her life, but without Alan around, and see what
Mm.
she's doing. And then Alan could and then Alan could phone her for help in the end. I think that would have been a bit
Yeah.
better than them still being friends. It came across as a bit odd.
Yeah. It actually, Ellen and Ellie. You could wonder why is Ellie there, and actually she's there to save the day,
Yeah.
kind of. But she doesn't have a big role. Actually, her husband saves him because he has this whole, connection with the military and so on.
Oh yeah. I would have
But
preferred though if Ellie and Alan were actually together and actually had that family. That's what I thought at first. I thought, oh, that's nice. They actually had kids, but nope, it's not the case, is it?
no, no, she has two kids, but they're not Ellen's. They're someone
No, no.
else's. Yeah,
Never
that.
mind.
Yeah.
I give this. I just want to say, I give this film. It's a difficult one. Probably 6.7 out of 10. It just seemed like a bog standard monster film. There were some really good bits, but a lot of it was
Mhm.
just a bit naff, and I was just a bit fed up with a lot of it, to be honest. And I guess subjectively, maybe a 7 because I think Alan Grant's a cool character. I don't know, bit difficult.
Yeah, mine would be the objective one, would be a
Yeah.
7, and I think a 7.5 because I have throughout the years, I've been having more appreciation for this movie because of the raptor scene, because of Pteranodon scene. The ending I find very cool. When I saw it for the first time in 2001 in cinema, I didn't really understand the last scene with the raptors and the eggs. I was like, what?
Hmm.
Okay, they're satisfied with those eggs and they're running away, but I didn't really get the whole resonating chamber whistling thing. And when I saw the movie more times, I was like, oh, okay, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. But yeah, fair enough. Would you want to go into the behind the scenes? Because I only watched smidges of it and I really can't remember it. Um,
Yeah, I can say something about it, not that much, but because it's some time ago that I've seen it. But the first making of Jurassic Park is fantastic. I mean, you got a lot of backstage information about deleted scenes, about how they made the dinosaurs and their sounds. It's really interesting to know that because when I was in oh, that's cool. You watched it yesterday, all of them. Wow, that must have been a marathon, right? That's fantastic.
was it just the original trilogy Studio LD, or did you actually watch like the new ones as well? The newer ones.
Yeah, I'm interesting to hear that too.
But what were you saying then, Gampat, about the
Oh,
BTS?
well, when I was in cinema, I was like, how did they do this? How did they make those dinosaurs? And behind the scenes, tell you everything about it. They went from stop motion to animatronics and um, CGI, and that was revolutionary for that time. Really, I mean, what I said before, this is the first time you see a dinosaur, a real dinosaur. I mean, in the
Hmm.
park, I mean, in how to say, museums and so on, it was not everything. It was just not moving. They are standing still, and there you have a living, breathing dinosaur, which looks believable, realistic. Uh, yeah, there you have it.
Nice. Only the OGs. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, yeah.
So I guess we can pretty much wrap up there, near enough. Um, but Gampat, I know it's random to bring up, and I probably should say it for the brick flick. But what what Lego idea sets made it into the next round out of interest?
Say it again because I didn't really get your
What
question.
Lego idea sets made it into the next round after Asterix the Gaul? Sadly, didn't make it.
Do you mean the sets that got chosen?
Yeah, for the next round, or that got chosen to be made. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that was chosen to be made was Hocus Pocus. It's from a movie from the
Oh,
90s, 1993, and that's the same year as Jurassic Park. So I really didn't know. I mean, I only when you say the year 1993, I only
is
think
it
of
the Nightmare Before Christmas?
no. It's
Oh,
something else about witches and a house and whatever it is. I don't know.
I'm gonna just look up quickly. Lego ideas, Hocus Pocus. So it's just one winning set now. There's no more
Yeah,
round.
there's not more
Okay.
because I have many others in the review phase as well. I mean, in the creation phase. So they only chose one,
All right. I'm
and
gonna
it was
show you.
made by a Belgian girl, and I know her, so I'm happy for her, of course.
Yeah.
But it's a pity that there was only one chosen. Yeah, that's the one. That's the
I mean, yeah. I guess it's nicely built, but I don't know. Now, I'm not just saying this because you're a good friend and all this jazz.
mm,
And I'm not trying to annoy this, Belgium. Like, what's her name? What's the?
Amber.
Uh, okay, so I'm not knocking Amber or having a go at her, but I really do think Asterix the Gaul is a lot more interesting than this because
Mm,
there's so many different little pieces. If it was just like one big house, Asterix the Gaul, and it wasn't all the other little pieces that you added, all the other little mini builds, I'd think, fair enough. But because
mhm,
there's so much to Asterix the Gaul, I just sort of think it's better than this. But I mean, they probably just thought, Hocus Pocus is more well known. And I guess they just probably think with Lego, you can make the objectively the best set ever. But let's be real, like they're gonna go for the thing that they think, not necessarily that will make the most money, but the thing that they think will make the most money. And so, in Lego's
yeah,
mind,
yeah, and um, it's also an American thing. I think that that's also come into play.
yeah,
Uh, Many Americans know this, and they are kind of ruling the market. I
basically, yeah.
I, I understand it, but I'm not sure if you always have to choose themes from that are well known in America.
Hmm.
I'm not sure, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
There is
Not approved, gutted,
pity.
fuming. Definitely a
I
pity.
I do
However,
get new Lego sets. I could order up to $500 of Lego. So I chose the Home
free.
Alone yeah, the Home
Oh,
Alone
cool.
house and two
Yeah,
Jurassic World sets.
nice. That's good of Lego to do that for you for this idea.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. But as I told you at the beginning when we started talking, I am going to re-upload this one again, and hopefully we'll get so many comments. Oh man, that's a lot.
24 days ago.
Podori. Oh,
It should have been Asterix. I've never heard of Hocus Pocus.
Funny thing is, he is a Belgian.
Damn.
That's all.
It
It
really
really
sucks.
sucks.
It's being rejected. I was looking forward to it, basically, just so I could learn how to build it. You built the wild boar, lol.
Yeah.
Oh, someone said please consider resubmitting this to finally have Asterix to Gore, Asterix and Obelix set. Nice that there's a lot of people rallying behind it. It's very cool.
Got it even. Got it yours, didn't chosen. Oh yeah.
Should have been a minimum of 2 chosen. Very impressive structure and detail. Cool. I love how you reply to all the comments. That is very cool. That is really commendable.
Yeah, I think when someone says something nice to you, you should respond and say thank you.
Well, I don't bother responding to most comments. I give them like how if you're in charge of the channel, you can sort of give the comment a love heart with your picture.
Oh yeah.
That's what I do for a lot of people if it's a nice comment. Just because I don't really like responding to comments, just because it's sort of like if you respond to one, you have to respond to all of them. But I've given a lot of channel love hearts, if that makes sense. Like with my
That's all right. Yeah. I mean, I can understand it for YouTube, but for Lego ideas, it helps as well to get more votes. If you say if you start up a bit of a conversation, then who knows? But anyway, we will see.
Most definitely. Well, as I say, we can nicely wrap one up there. Thank you all so much for watching this one. Anyone who tuned in, appreciated. Have you got any final messages you want to say, or?
Well, I think we're heading for the weekend, so I wish everyone a very nice and safe and etc. cool weekend.
Fucking wait.
And don't shoot her. Don't shoot her.
Shoot her! Shoot!
And that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap, people. Peace out, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hey, subscribe to Not a Park Egg. Subscribe to Not a Park Egg. Check out Gampat's shit. All right, laters, everyone.